Hello everybody, Ray Garrett here, and just wanted to make a quick video to show you how to create this lovely report. So you probably are familiar that reports do not come from Salesforce looking like this. The reports come from Salesforce a little gobbledygook. As a matter of fact, when we download them, they look more like this right here, and we kind of have to make sense of them. So I want to show you how to edit a report in Salesforce to get it to look like, in Excel rather, to get it to look like this. These techniques that you'll learn is not only valid for this report, but they'll probably help you in other reports as well. So let's get started. First thing, I'm going to go to Salesforce here, and the meeting I'm going to introduce you to is a meeting that I created with Sean, which is called Realized Meetings by Branch. It's available in the Captain's Chair Reports folder. If you have that pinned up there, you should be able to find it pretty easily, or you can just type in something like branch here, and you'll see the report here. It'll come up in your feed. So I'm going to click on that report, and it's going to give me this information. A few details I'm going to point out here. This is the filter group right here, so that's going to give you that's going to basically show you what you're filtering by. We're filtering by this. It's an old filter, but it's irrelevant at this point, so we can just leave it there for the time being. The next thing, you want to know the time frame the report is being pulled from, and that's this box here. It's showing you that the time frame is just last month. Now you can customize and alter these times anytime you want, but it's automatically going to default to last month. And then you have all of the branches, all of the districts down here. What I would suggest that you do before you download this is to select whichever districts are in your region or in your purview. So you can just kind of, if I wanted to select just a few, I'm just going to select a few here, and we'll go down the list and just do all this stuff on the East Coast. There's this, and then some Florida companies here. So we're just going to select some of these, and I'm not going to do all of them, obviously, because I'm just trying to make a report for you all, so you get the idea. I don't necessarily need to have all of them in there, but these are most of the East Coast metros or districts here. So there's Pittsburgh, and let's see if we can find a couple more. We will go Sarasota. Then we'll say there's, I won't put in St. Louis. Let's say Tampa. Tampa's in there. So I may have missed one or two, but that's okay. Now I've checked on the ones that, let's say my purview is the East Coast, so I've checked on those, and now I've isolated those. Okay, so that's the first step. You just want to make sure your time parameters are right, and then now that you see I've isolated them, it's created a filter here that is isolating those area. Now I probably should have Atlanta in there, and I think I missed that, but otherwise I think I've got most of them. So we are going to now go to printable view. Printable view. So when I click that, it's going to download. So I'm going to go ahead and download it just as it's suggesting. You can sorry. Okay, here we go. Sorry, hit the wrong button there. So now I've downloaded it. I'm going to click to open it in Excel. And it's going to look like, it's going to give you this warning to pop up at first. It's going to say, basically that's just the way that Salesforce puts stuff through, like a website and stuff. You're going to change that anyway, so I'm going to save it and change it immediately when I open it. But it says, do you want to open it anyway? I'm going to say yes. Now what I like to do, the very first thing I like to do is I like to enable editing. You want to click on that button, enable editing, now that you can change it. And once I do that, I'm going to save as, and I'm just going to name it. Let's just say I'm going to say East Coast meetings by branch. Okay, close enough. And I'm going to change this from a web page to an Excel workbook. Okay, very first thing I did. So now I've got that done, and we're off to the races. So now you have this gobbledygook. Now you can submit it just like this. It's fine. People can make it out, and I think it's okay. But remember, our goal for this report is to make it look like this one, where it's kind of scrolls. It keeps the headline there. I can scroll to the right and keep the branch there. It just looks a little neater. So let's talk about how to do that. Okay. So the very first thing I want to do is, I don't need any of this other information. I'm just going to copy all of the information that is there. Nothing else, only the stuff that's colored in. So you just copy all of that stuff. I'll do it with a Control-C to copy. Now I'm going to start a new sheet, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click inside of a cell, and I'm going to choose the paste only text issue, which if you know the values, the one that says 1, 2, 3 is that, I can click that, or I can go and just click values here under paste special. Doesn't matter which one you do, you can just click that, or you can go do that. I'm just going to click the easy one, and that's going to paste the values. Before I click anything, before I do anything, while it's still highlighted, I need to format it because you can see it's got all those blanks in there and it looks all crazy. The way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to go up here to this button, Find Select. Okay, I click it and it gives me these options. I'm going to click Go to Special. And you can watch this video as many times as you need to if you've never done this before. It's going to bring up this dialog box once I hit Go to Special from the Find and Select button. Now I'm just going to hit blanks and hit OK. That's going to isolate just the blank records. I don't want to click anywhere. See, when you click something, that's what stuff messes up. You got to know exactly what you're doing here. So since I've pasted, I haven't clicked anywhere on the screen. If I click on the screen, it's gonna go off of the. So watch what happens. So I click here, now it's not highlighted anymore. Now I have to go back and try to do everything over again. So you don't want to click. You don't want to click. Okay, so let's just do that again. Let's paste them, and then I'm going to find a select, go to special. See, I haven't clicked on anything. Just go to blanks, and now I'm good. Now I want to bring my cursor, before I do anything, I want to bring my cursor over somewhere that's highlighted. It doesn't matter where, but it's got to be a place that's highlighted. So you can see anything that's in gray. So I'm just going to hover it right there, and I'm going to right click. Okay, and now I'm going to hit the delete button. What that's going to do is delete any cell that doesn't have information in it. And I'm going to shift them up. Now the only thing that I've got to do now is it had this corner space. You can see the way this report is designed, there's a corner space up here that doesn't have anything in it. And that's why it didn't align up. So the only thing I've got to do to align it is insert a blank box right here. So I'm going to right click, cell A1, and hit insert, and now I'm just going to shift cells down, and now it is perfectly lined up. Okay, hope that's evident to everybody. So now I'm just going to clean up some things. Okay, so once I get it open, I'm going to expand the columns. The way I did that was just I expanded all of the stuff. So I clicked the cell in the top left-hand corner, and then I just double-clicked in between any one of the columns, and that expanded all of the columns so I could see them. I'm going to shrink them again, but right now I want to get rid of this branch office selection. I don't think that needs to be there. You can see in our original sheet here, it's not there. It just says branch. Okay, so I don't need that. So that'll shrink it some. Here's how I do that. First of all, I'm going to copy branch office selection. Just copy it like so. And once I copy it, I'm going to highlight that whole row, and I'm going to hit Control F, which is my find and replace. Okay, so I'm going to paste that into this, and I'm going to replace just with the word branch. We're going to see how that looks. Replace all. I don't like that because it doesn't. I don't like that because I like that it's shortened, but I don't like the fact that it took out the gap there. So I'm going to undo, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to paste that here, and then I'm going to just take out office selection. I'm going to take out that word. So every time it sees branch office selection, it's going to just replace it with the word branch, but it's going to put the space there. Now I hit replace all. I like that better. And the reason I do is because now I can see the difference between the summary lines and the individual lines. See? And that looks more like our original. Well, our original is over here, so we can talk about putting that out. That actually looks okay, but I still like it better indented, so I'm going to leave it indented. All right, so we're getting closer. We're getting closer to where we need to be. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start on our coloring, our shading. You see all of these are nicely colored, and then we'll start formatting them differently. We're going to do a bunch of different things here. So let's work on our shading now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this top row, and then actually I'm going to shrink it down a little bit so I can see the whole thing on my screen. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to highlight the district rows, just the summary rows. And these you're going to do one at a time. It's not going to be that hard. You don't have that many here. So we'll see. I've got just a few more left. It's not going to take too much time. The way that you do this is you hold the control key in. So I highlighted the first one, and then I hold my control key in. And as I'm holding my control key in, it lets me do this to do several rows. Otherwise, it'll just keep on just going to a different row. But if I hold my control key in every time I highlight something, it will allow me to select multiple rows here. Went a little too far there. And then we got Orlando, and I think we got one more down here. Well, no, we got several more and a totals line. So then I'm going to do these few and a lot of places on the East Coast, it looks like. And then I'm going to do the grand total. Okay. So if we look at this other sheet, they're all in white and, they're all bold. So we're going to do that. We're going to make them bold first. We're going to make the text white. And then we're going to make the shading that blue color, which is this color right here. Okay. And now you've got the beginning of, a pretty good looking sheet. We're on the right track, you can see. A few little changes we still need to make, but we're on the right track, and I think we're going to be okay. Now, as we go, now we need to kind of say, this one looks kind of scrunched up. Here's what I want to do here. I'm going to make it bigger again, and I'm just going to shrink this down a little bit. I'm going to shrink this down to, let's say, here. But then I am going to take these rows and I'm going to standardize the width of them. So I'm just going to highlight all of those columns here. And the width is what I want to change. So once I highlight cells B all the way across, I'm going to right click and go to column width. And let's just try it out at 15. That's better. I think that we could probably make it just a little bit smaller. So let's try, and some of this is experimental. Let's try 12. Let's see what we got over here. These are 13, so we'll make these 13. Okay. And let's see what the width of this one is. 50. We'll make this one 50. It's already the same width. Okay, good. All right, so now you can see all of this stuff is still kind of squished up. And these are still kind of squished up. So we're going to fix all that. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to click in the upper left-hand corner. That highlights the whole thing in between cells A and 1, right there, in between. It highlights the whole thing. Now we right-click and we go down to row height. I'm going to change the row height to, let's try 18. I think 18 looks pretty good. I'm going to keep it 18 for the time being. We got a few more ways to go, but we're getting close now. So we can tell that we're getting close. Now what I'm going to do while I've got everything highlighted is these are the alignment rows. This top row aligns it vertically and this bottom row aligns it horizontally. I'm not going to align horizontally yet because I like these over to the left, but I will align everything vertically, which you can see just kind of makes everything kind of go to the middle. And now I'm going to highlight this all the way across and I'm going to center all of this stuff in the middle. So now we can see we're definitely getting closer. But on this other sheet, I've typed in metro/branch as the header right there. So I'm going to type that in, metro/branch. That just lets me know what's in this column here. Now we still got some problems here. We got this kind of conglomerate here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this about 3 rows high, which means I need to be at about 45. That's close enough. And then what I can do is click on this first row here, right click anywhere, and I'm going to hit Format Cells. I'm going to go to Alignment. And now I can click Wrap Text. What that means is it stacks the text like that. I like that. I do like that a lot. Okay. So it looks like I missed a couple of steps, but I'm okay right now, I think. So anyway, I don't like this word count being in there. So let's do a find replace on the word count. There's only 2, but it's good to practice. Actually 3. So let's just practice. I'm going to highlight this row, do my Control F, type in the word count, and then I'm going to replace it with nothing, just blank. Replace all, and that takes care of that. Now I don't like that there. I think that there should be lines up here, you know, kind of separating this header here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to these lines. Now if I just add lines right now, add these borders, you're not going to really see them that good because they're black. I don't like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the line color. So I'm going to go here to line color. Again, I'm going to click up at the borders right here. I'm going to go down to line color, and let's say that I like them better like that color right there. And then I'll click the borders again. You can see that changes them to this color. I like that a little bit better. Okay, so that is that. Now we've still got a few things that we need to do. These are all percentages, so I need to change these to percentages. Before I do, I'm going to get rid of this error. A lot of people don't like to see that, and a lot of people don't like to see the zeros across the page too, so let's just get rid of all of that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I want. Let's just get rid of it. So here, let's copy this error message, Control C, and then we can do a Control F, paste it into that line, and then replace it with nothing. Replace all. Actually, let's do that again. Let's undo that, and let's replace it with 0 now until we figure out what we want to do. Replace all. Okay, good. All right, so that error message is gone. Now we're going to turn all 3 of these rows into percentages, which is what they should be because they're all ratios. I'm going to go there to percentages, and then what I like to do is just add 1 decimal point just in case. It makes it look more official, right? So now I've got it pretty much like I want it. I can go in and do other things if I need to. I think that there's probably some other things that we could do to make it look nicer, but for the whole, we're good to go here. I would go ahead and sign my name to that. And we can see over here, we've got a few other things. Here's some extra credit, and I really suggest you trying this on some of these. Now you can see here, I've put the lines on each one. You can do that or not do that. I kind of like the way that this other one looks here, though, without those lines. I think it's fine. It's a personal preference thing, though. But what you don't want is to, you don't want to go and have the first column removed. And just in case on somebody's screen that this expands beyond their screen, you want them to be able to go side to side and still see the branch information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the screen about right there. So what that is saying, if I lock it with this cell B2, it's going to lock the top row, and it's going to lock the top column and the first row. It's going to lock both of those. So I click in that cell B2, and I go to View, and then I'm going to go to Freeze Panes and just click Freeze Panes. Now you see that blocks it there, it locks that top line, and it locks the A line too if I need to move from left to right. Okay, now I can save it again, and I'm all done. I think that report's ready for takeoff. So you've seen that. You can watch this video. I know it's a longer video, but you can apply these techniques to pretty much anything that you want to apply it to, and hopefully you learn something. I do appreciate it, and as always, reach out to me if you need me for anything. Thanks, guys.